are now tuned in to the Free Play Media Podcast Network.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Denman, your favorite member of We Are Live. Don't worry about those other bums. Quick note, we've got Tom Green in the house today. It's an excellent conversation. He's at Helium Comedy Club here in St. Louis all weekend long. Can't say enough good things. Bonus, thanks to Mr. Green. He actually, you'll hear us talk about it in the conversation, he's recording a punk rock album, and he's provided us with the song. So stick around. After the podcast, we've got the whole song. Check it out. It's very cool. He recorded it at his studio in Los Angeles. Hey, and while you're hanging out, go to Presence Float Center, use the promo code WAL, and if you haven't yet, listen to our morning show, St. Louis Live, 7 to 10 a.m. every morning on 9:20 a.m. here in St. Louis, Missouri. Enjoy the show.
We are live, live, live. We are live, live, live. We are live, live, live. We are live.
We're live. Chris Denman.
And I'm Al Callings.
Al Callings today.
Yes, I am.
Jeff
Nice.
Jones is sitting in with us.
Robert Kardashian.
Okay. And then our fourth.
O.J. Simpson.
Yes! What up, the Juices Loose, everybody? It's We Are Live. Before we get into asking how the murders went down with Mr. Simpson, got to tell you guys, go to Presence Float Center, use promo code WAL. That's for We Are Live. Get $10 off your float. Our man Tom Green's in studio.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Good to see you, Tom.
What an amazing studio you have.
Right. Well, we got this for you specifically.
Yeah, it's a really nice studio. I know a little bit about recording.
You do.
I have a recording studio myself. Not this nice, but I do like I record music. I like to record music.
What kind of music do you record?
I've been recording all sorts of different genres of music this last year or so. I'm going to put out a punk rock album in a few months.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I've just got to write it first and record it. But I'm going to go back and write it and record it next month, the whole thing, and then release it on vinyl.
Okay.
But I've done a lot of different kinds of music over the years. I like making beats. I use Pro Tools. I see you're using Pro Tools right now.
You're a hip hop guy from the get go.
Yeah,
Whenever we kind of
Yeah.
caught wind of you around '97, where I was at in Southeast Missouri.
Oh, yeah?
What was the hip hop group?
Organized Rhyme.
That's
were called.
right.
Yeah. Wow. '97. Yeah, that was before MTV.
Yeah.
The show was. We had a rap group in Canada. Canadian hip hop is big now. You know.
It is.
Drake.
has
Yes.
just put everyone
Yeah,
on the map.
we did it before Drake. We didn't put Ottawa on the map. But
Travis, do you count Bieber in the Canadian hip hop genre?
I personally would, but Tom, you're the Canadian. Would you count Bieber?
well,
into that?
I definitely put him in the Canadian, mega star musician genre for sure. I know I met him once in a recording studio in Los
really?
Angeles. Yeah.
He was probably in awe of you.
I wouldn't
Or
go
is he
that
too
far.
young?
I was more amazed to be doing a shot of tequila with the guy and talking to him like
Nice.
he's a normal guy and he had a basketball court in the studio and was shooting hoops, and every time he'd fire a shot he'd yell, "Tom Green in the house," and I was like, "What the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on?" Justin Bieber. I didn't even think he would really. I was inadvertently ended up in there because my friend is a hip hop producer and was in there recording, and I went in to visit him, not knowing that he would be there, and we had a good time. But
It sounds like a good positive experience. So
It
you
was
weren't
positive, yeah.
cheering loudly whenever Chris Pronger sent him up against the glass at the NHL All-Star
No,
game this
I'm
year.
not one of these people that goes around and sort of hates on successful people just
a
because
good way to be.
filled with envy and jealousy because they never have to work again for the rest of their life if they
Exactly.
choose not to.
Right. With his, if we're just talking about Bieber, with his stardom, how do you act any differently, as I would say?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Doesn't have anything like abuse on his record. Doesn't have, as far as other people, domestic, anything like that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us would act out a bit like that.
Yeah, it's got to be interesting being at that place, and being young like that. It's difficult when you first all of a sudden are thrust into the public spotlight, And
How old were you whenever MTV hit?
I was a little certainly older than him. I was 28 years old, so and even that was strange,
Absolutely, it
all of a
was.
sudden, just meeting people that you are completely impressed by and in awe of. I remember the first show I went on in the U.S. was the David Letterman show.
Yeah.
I grew up idolizing David Letterman, and now I'd been living in New York City for 2 weeks, and I'm as a guest on his show, and
Right.
I was kind of just completely freaked out by the whole thing.
Previously, like arguing with your friends in Canada over a bag of chips or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And then
All
now
dressed.
you're-
All dressed chips, Chris.
Yeah.
How did you get your sea legs? Like you were thrown right into fire. Like I said, you had an opportunity to guest host for David Letterman at some point, and a guy that you obviously idolize and respect. How did you have your wits about yourself being put in a situation like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd been on television shows in Canada before.
Right.
I'd been a guest on talk shows before. And anytime I would go on a talk show in Canada, I would always in my head sort of say, man, this must be kind of what it's like if you go on Letterman.
Right.
So it's sort of like a nice, it's kind of like a
We've
dress
done a
rehearsal.
local St. Louis live show. Do you remember that, Travis? That's exactly what we were thinking as well, too.
Absolutely.
Next stop, Letterman.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dry run for it.
Yeah, of course.
And so, I'd been through that process, and I certainly was, a nervous wreck going on
I
the
would
show.
imagine.
Though. Yeah, and I got to host Letterman once too. So that was pretty
Who
amazing.
was the guest when you hosted?
Scott Stevens, who's a New Jersey Devil.
Defenseman. Yeah.
Yeah, and
He was
then,
a character, by the way, too, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Is he kind of fun?
yeah.
Yeah.
I did a bit with him where New Jersey had just beat Ottawa in the playoffs. I'm from Ottawa, and I played hockey my whole life, so I did a bit that I sort of planned out with him where in the middle of the interview I handed him a New Jersey jersey and hey, New Jersey jersey. And I threw in a Ottawa Senators jersey, and we went out into the middle of the performance area, and I gave him a stick, and I threw a puck on the ground. I said, now I'm going to show you how Canadians play hockey. Try to take the puck away from me. And then he body slammed me, and I flew across the room and smashed into Paul Schaefer's organ.
How many people get to say that?
And I'm not talking about the piano either.
Hey, look out. Hey, now. Hey.
Okay, so I've been
You
to
can hear
Ottawa.
more of that at Helium Comedy Club all weekend long here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I've been to Ottawa, but only briefly. And by Ottawa, I mean I flew to the airport, took an Uber to Canada, and then went to the rink, and then went back to the airport. So did I see like the vital sites of Ottawa, or what have I
too bad.
missed? Okay,
Well, you would have wanted, do you know what the capital of Canada is?
Ottawa.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Okay.
Boy, I wish you would have got that wrong.
No,
would've made me so happy.
I'm a hockey guy. Damn it! I know what the fuck's going on.
So
Sorta.
So Jeff is part of a media organization that's part of Bleacher Report, I believe.
SB Nation.
SB Nation, Game Time. It's a great hockey.
We do a fan-run newspaper. We print it. We've done it for 22 years now. Outside of every Blues home game, we print them out. We do jokes and we do the whole thing.
We have a
So
shot collar on him in case he gets too close to you.
I'm
So
trying. Look, I'm
there's
holding
hockey
back.
in
This
the
is
room.
all the hockey I can like.
Right.
I'm squeezing it tight.
Just
Sorry,
don't
continue.
Just don't come in my duffel bag.
That's what we call a callback.
Yeah.
No, because you said you were going on a trip,
Right, that's
and he
what I
said
don't-
he wanted to come in your duffel bag.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tom. This is kind of getting weird. I've heard
No,
rumors about.
I have very little control over it, to be honest. So
It's kind of how he says hello.
wherever it lands, yeah.
It just comes in everybody's duffel bag. So
Yeah.
watch your bags,
Yeah.
everybody. What were you saying, Jeff?
No, just I mean, what? So what did I? Because I drove, I guess, over the canal. The canal is a big thing.
Yeah,
in
the
Ottawa.
Rideau Canal. So you went downtown then?
I mean, I landed at the airport, and the taxi driver took me to the hotel that was near the rink. That's pretty much the extent of my Ottawa
Well,
experience.
it's a beautiful city.
It seemed nice. It was February.
Okay, it's less beautiful in February, unless you feel like I'm skating on the longest outdoor skating rink in the world, the
Right.
Rideau Canal. But other than that, winter is pretty brutal. It's the coldest national capital in the world. You go outside in February and you feel physical pain. I grew up every time you go outside, you feel physical pain. So now I live in Los Angeles where the pain is just emotional.
Everywhere.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Permeating throughout every room you walk into. We can talk more about that. The worst people on the planet, just vampires walking around everywhere in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's I think there's some of the most creative and hilarious and interesting people in the world in Los Angeles too, though. So you kind of have to, you kind of have both. I mean, that's the thing. I've lived there for 17 years in LA, and it's kind of strange. I still drive around the city after 17 years, and I kind of think, wow, I can't believe I live in LA and I know my way around and I'm used to this. But, I've got so many great friends there because I did a podcast and an internet TV show there.
One of the first.
For many years.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the best things about doing this is that you get to meet so many people. I would invite everybody on the show basically that I wanted to talk to, and many of them actually showed up and came to my house and did the show. So I made so many friends doing the show. Yeah,
It's fantastic to do that. Back to the internet TV show. That was before this podcast boom, really, and essentially you were doing a podcast, right?
Yeah.
What the success from that? Does it make you want to pick it back up now that everybody and their brother is doing either a podcast or some sort of media? How does that come back around, or does it? Did you have your time and it's done?
Yeah, I had a podcast I was doing last year,
Yeah.
and I've done them sort of sporadically, off and on. I did one last year for about a year, and I'm not doing it currently, but I probably will start doing it again. I do like doing it, and I have a studio. The studio where I'm making music has a room in it with set up similar to this, with a couple microphones and so I probably will start doing it again. I do like doing it. I stopped the last year of the podcast, which I did a couple of years ago. Ended a couple of years ago. I just decided to start taking phone calls, and that was the podcast.
Yes.
I would just turn on the recorder and I would
Right.
just take phone calls because I kind of got tired of asking people to be a guest on the show.
That gets old.
It's just because it's like, I do stand up at the Comedy Store all the time, or in a couple of all the clubs in LA.
Improv and-
You walk
yeah.
in, you see everybody there, and now everybody has a podcast, and everybody wants you to be a guest on their podcast, and so it's kind of like you're always doing podcasts. And after doing it for 5 or 6 years, I started getting tired of like asking people all the time, hey, because you start realizing, I'm not saying this, I like doing podcasts, and I'm
Obviously, you're so happy to be here.
I am so happy to be here. First of all, thank you for letting people in St. Louis know about my shows at Helium.
Absolutely.
Right? So I do a lot of media and a lot of radio, but sometimes when you're asking people all the time, you get people say no a lot too. Just because
Friends as well.
Yeah, they're busy, and so after a while you just start going like, geez, I just tired of bothering people.
It is. And you realize that maybe even if it's somebody where it's like, maybe you're asking up a little bit, maybe they're busier than you, they have a better career than you, but you realize even as a friend, the last 3 text messages you've sent are, hey, you going to come on this week? And maybe that's not the best way to continue friendships and relationships too.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
I started actually getting a sort of a weird subversive personal sort of glee out of inviting people that I knew would never do the show. so I started, and so it's a lot of fun because it was just like, oh wow, like I just invited
George Bush,
the president. I just invited Obama on the show.
Yeah.
Now I know he's not going to do it,
Sure,
but maybe somebody walked into his office and asked him if he wanted to do it. And then he's like heard of the show.
It's like, oh yeah, of course.
So that's pretty cool.
If you were into cats and did it in your garage, maybe he would have.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
he would have. I believe I heard you. Was it on Maron's podcast
Yeah.
or Greg Fitzsimmons? Or I can't
It was
remember.
I did Maron's. I did Greg. I did both those shows.
Great, talented dudes. Do you personally listen to that kind of media, or that's something I get to? Even though we're on air all the time, I'll still sneak in. I listen to Corolla or Maron or Joe Rogan or any of these guys that have.
I listen sometimes. I don't listen regularly.
Yeah.
I checked out a bunch of those shows just to kind of see what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm fans of theirs. So I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts. I might start listening to them more.
You don't have to.
No, because like it's a strange thing, but as technically savvy as I am with, really complex stuff,
right.
like hooking up, a vintage compressor to an old microphone and running it into Pro Tools.
Check that off.
Yeah.
I don't have to ask about the vintage compressor.
I just got my new LA2A compressor recently that I'm running
Engineer
an
Rich is peeking up.
an API 3124 preamp into an LA2A with my Neumann microphone, and I'm very.
That could all be made up, and we would have no idea.
It's a nice-
that sounds
Rich would
smart.
call him on
It's
it.
a nice mic chain. It sounds nice, And so I can hook all that stuff and figure that out, and it takes me a long time to figure it out. But like, I didn't realize that I had a CD player in my car for 5 years because there was a button on the navigation system and the screen lifted up.
comes out.
And the
That's
CD
right.
was behind it. I remember getting I have a 2009 Dodge Challenger. This is my car. And so I got it in 2009. I remember sitting down in the car and thinking, oh, wow, this is the first car I've ever had that doesn't have a CD player or a cassette deck in it.
Well, that's the
and
future.
There was a
The future's
USB chip. I go, oh, wow, this must be the new way of doing it. So I started loading my music in the USB and listening to Sirius. And so, true story, I'm very good friends with Andrew Dice Clay.
Sure.
Nice.
And we've become very good friends through my internet show. That's how
Yes.
we became friends. He came up and did the show all the time. Now we're buddies. And I was hanging out at his house on Thanksgiving, a dinner at his house actually, and we were talking about our cars because he has a Dodge Challenger too. And I just said, the only thing he gave me his son's CD for there. They've got a great band called Still Rebel, and they're incredible, like Guns N' Roses style, like
As featured on Entourage, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yes.
they're an amazing band, and. He gave me their CD, and I said, "Oh man, wish I could listen to this in my car. I don't have a CD player in the car." He said, "You got a CD player in the car, Tommy? Hey, come on outside. I'll show you your CD player." And he shows me. I had this car for 10 years. So anyways, forget why I was talking about that.
No, it's a
Technology.
good. You'll get there.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
How do you? I feel like when you were obviously a part of, I guess if you want to call it the golden age of MTV, but do you ever look back on your time, your show on MTV, and ask yourself, wow, I can't believe I got away with that, or wow, I can't believe we did that? How do you look back on your time on your show on MTV?
I definitely sometimes look at some of the videos from those days and scratch my head and think, wow, I can't believe that we did that. Yeah,
Chris, which one in particular
Yeah.
what we were just looking at?
Okay, and this is always strange because we're in a business where we get to talk to people that maybe we've idolized or that we truly love their creative spots. I'm putting the SAMSE in my top sketches personally of all time.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking like
The SAMSE.
That is so yes, the SAMSE
Yeah,
is
the-
what
the
space age mobile smokers environment.
Nice, yeah.
I got this, Tom. Thank you. No, I would put that.
I know your material.
Yeah. No, I put it up. It was at the time, I don't know what hit, and then I rewatched it recently, and I was like, no, that's still very clever and very funny.
Yeah.
And I did notice, I did have some questions.
So the SAMSE, we built a plexiglass box on wheels that I was inside.
Quite un-space age
And,
like.
yeah, very rudimentary carpentry. And I walked inside this not quite airtight sealed box into restaurants and public places and smoked cigarettes and so till they said, you can't smoke inside. I know I'm allowed to smoke inside. I'm in my SAMSE. It's a space age mobile smokers environment.
And the graphics really sell it home. Very, again, rudimentary graphics saying it's a space age mobile smokers environment.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
continuing to go through that, I just died laughing watching it recently. Still,
Yeah, I know. And
was that in New York?
Yeah, it was in New York. Yeah. I've looked at a lot of the older clips lately because I just reposted a lot of stuff on TomGreen.com on my website.
Yeah.
So just relaunched TomGreen.com for mobile. So go check it out on your cellular telephone.
We can do that.
And lots of the old videos on there. But yeah, absolutely, I do think that.
Do you is anything cringeworthy to you?
Most of it, yeah.
Is it? I mean, is it akin to your stand-up sets now, where you're like, that material's 3 years old? I don't even relate to it anymore.
I really laugh when I look at the old stuff and cringe. But I mean, that was the goal, right? We were trying to make cringe-worthy, cringe-inducing moments, right? So No, I'm proud of what we accomplished actually back then because we did set out to do something that we did not see on television.
We did not.
And
we
did.
And I would even argue we haven't seen anything really close to it since. I really would, honestly.
Yeah, some of the places we took it certainly were a little weirder, but just even technically, there was nothing like that on TV then. And now it's sort of YouTube and everything is, and it's interesting to me to see how far that sort of genre has gone. fun. So it was pretty cool.
Do you think you could pitch something similar to that? Do you think anyone could pitch something like your show today?
Well, today, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of shows like that on TV now. Like there's shows like Impractical Jokers, and there was Jackass, and there's been all sorts of shows like that. So, but yeah, I mean, the way we got the show on the air wasn't really necessarily through pitching it. I mean, I did have to pitch it at one point, but really, it was kind of similar to what you have with YouTube. Before YouTube, we just went and made the show and put it on TV, and it got picked up.
I was going to say a lot of your stuff from Canadian Access Television was reused for the Tom Green show.
Yeah, like more than half of it
had already been done, which is crazy. With the early days of MTV, they essentially had you by the short hairs too. Imagine those contracts weren't the best as far as throughout your career, because I think they're notorious, and maybe I just listened to too many people who started on MTV at that time, but hearing about some of those contract deals and then what they would re-up. I just heard Steve-O talking about, we had Steve-O on, what was it, like last year, talking about how he was like, he just signed a thing because he saw a thing that said $6,000 and thought that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then you compare it to, what was your experience like dealing with that?
Well, I have no complaints. I mean, I was very fortunate.
How much money are you worth right now?
Yeah, we gotta know.
MTV gave me such a huge platform for the show, and broadcast me all over the world. So, to this day, I'm still, benefiting from that. I've just got back from touring Europe and the United Kingdom. I was in Israel, and people know me from the MTV show over there. So, and I had a unique experience, I think, and I think a certain amount of luck, I think, factors in for sure. I mean, I was able to make a bunch of movies, and that was outside of the MTV contract. So, although I didn't make a lot of money off of MTV itself, I did well with the films, and I wouldn't have gotten the films if it wasn't for MTV. So I got no complaints. Yeah,
that's a very good way to look at it as far as the platform and everything else.
It's interesting, like when you're a stand-up comedian, and that's really my main thing right now. As for the last almost 10 years, I've been touring as a stand-up comedian. I don't even look at television anymore as I look at it as a promotional mechanism. You want to go. It's nice to have a TV show on the air just so people know that you're performing at Helium in St. Louis this week.
One show tonight, 2 tomorrow, 2 Saturday. You guys can get tickets online at heliumcomedystl.com.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just got to work those in. How was your experience in Europe? I heard
great.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I had an amazing tour there. I just toured Ireland, England, and I was in Tel Aviv, Israel, performed there for the first time. It's weird when you're doing a show in Israel. I've never been to Israel before. I had a show in Israel, and so I went in a week earlier than the show. And, one day it's like, let's rent a car and drive over to Jerusalem.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's go to the spot where they crucified Jesus.
Sure.
And take a photo of it and put it on my Instagram. Mm-hmm. And then let's go to Bethlehem and take a picture in the manger where the 3 wise men came. And put a picture of it on Instagram. The birthplace of Jesus Christ. And then, so you're here, here's a photo. I'm here at the birthplace of Jesus Christ. And then you start getting all of these, angry, trolling atheists.
Yes.
Right? Why don't you go take a picture of Santa Claus next, right? And so now I'm like a person I don't consider myself to be atheist, certainly. I know, but I'm also maybe not the most religious person in the world, but I also am not the least religious person in the world. I'm a spiritual person, and I was certainly, made the effort to drive over to Bethlehem to see the birthplace of Jesus at the Church of the Nativity. It was a pretty incredible experience. The church was built in the year 363. 363 years after Jesus, they built the church to hide where the manger was in this sort of network of caves and stuff underground. So they'd hide it from, marauding armies of Ottomans and Romans and Turks and things like this. So anyways, it was a pretty amazing experience, and I got kind of angry. I found myself getting angry at these online trolls who were, taking the fun out of my religious pilgrimage to
Right.
the birthplace of Jesus,
Right.
you know? So I started taking pictures of every religious thing that I could find, you know, and just completely getting really into it. And then they were getting angrier and angrier and angrier.
Tom's like, you silly bitches, I've been doing
Yeah.
this since '93,
Yeah,
man.
and
Get
just
outta
the
here.
racism and the horrible racism and anti everything coming out of people. You know, I don't even like to talk about how horrible the internet can be.
Right.
But, you know, you can just troll people into this sort of. You can easily toy with people. So it was interesting. My trip to Israel, I enjoyed it a lot. It's weird when you're walking down the street of there's a city on the outskirts of Tel Aviv called Jaffa, which has been there since 7500 BC. You know, there's been people living there.
Yes.
Like it's referenced in Greek mythology. You know, Perseus killed the Kraken, the sea monster.
Where he was at.
In Jaffa. Noah's son, you know, the guy with the boat.
It was a very nice boat.
Built.
Yes.
Was one of the early people who was involved in building Jaffa, right? So you're walking around and you're thinking, wow, you know, I feel like really meaningless and insignificant right now. It does change your worldview a bit when you come back from walking around, you know, places like that are that old.
In human
you know?
history,
It just
yeah.
makes you realize how quick you know, our lives are and how
Very
short.
much.
So it makes you kind of feel. It's a very positive experience. You know, you feel like, okay, let's have fun today because you know what, we're basically dead.
I mean, if we're talking in it, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So how did you do that night?
At the show?
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
The audiences are great.
Probably the energy that you feel from like, hey,
Yeah.
I have no
Yeah.
control over this situation.
Yeah, the audiences are great, and the further you travel, the more appreciative people are. I mean, they're always, but you know, like, I mean, we're used to in America having comedians and people.
Walk
we know
down the
from,
street outside of the Comedy Store, you will see 10 of your favorite comedians / people who've been in movies.
Yeah, we're used to seeing that. But if you're overseas and people come all the way over to come perform, you have great crowds. Yeah,
That's a way to be, man.
So when you're performing in a place like that where there's sort of politics in the air, do you take a moment to like look at your material, right, and consider if there's anything that you want to alter, or are you comfortable enough to just go with it?
Yeah. I mean, I have this sort of idea that I'm trying to make everybody at my shows have a good time.
Of course.
I want people to have a lot of fun.
Right.
Because you want to talk about politics in the air. I mean, there's politics in the air in America more than
Absolutely.
anywhere in the world right now. Because, you know, it's very divided here right now.
You and Dice were on a season of The Apprentice together.
I know the president of the United States personally. Donald Trump was my old boss. He fired me because I went out drinking with Dennis Rodman.
There's worse reasons to be fired.
Colluding with a North Korean ambassador.
Yeah.
You can't blame him.
Story
Absolutely.
as old as time, Chris, right?
Yeah.
Getting fired by the president of the United States because you went out drinking with Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. I'll say like pre-election, like when Trump was running for president, but
Yes.
before he won,
Right.
and before he was actually the president, I was quite critical of him as a candidate. I'll be honest about that because I wasn't personally enthralled with some of the rhetoric that he used in the campaign. I didn't like the way he ran the campaign, so I spoke out against it, and had a lot of backlash.
I was going to be curious. How did your audience
A
respond?
lot
to
of
that?
backlash on Facebook, less backlash on Twitter. But I don't know why. I don't know why that is.
Funny how that works.
But I don't know why that is. But it was interesting though. But but then when he became the president, and as a Canadian, I'm not American. I can't even
Right.
vote here. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
Things get real bad down here. I'm moving back to Ottawa. We're building a wall. Gonna make Donald Trump pay for it.
I like the way you think. What a unique experience and career that you have had. Do you see anything going forward? Are you going to keep pushing forward with stand-up? Are you wanting to get back into movies of any kind? If you're on a 10-year streak of kicking ass, headlining around the country, look, you're going to Hawaii soon?
Yeah.
You saw that? Who else is on that show? Is that a unique thing, or is that Tom Green goes to Hawaii?
Yeah, I'm just performing at a comedy club in Hawaii.
Smartest man
It's
on the
called the
planet.
Blue Note Comedy Club.
That's a
Yeah.
way to be.
Yeah.
I don't know of a better way to push forward, right?
I've seen the world. I've seen places I'd never thought I'd go. I went to Iraq. I went performed for the military in Baghdad.
Wow. Very nice.
I went to Afghanistan. Performed for the Taliban over there.
Of course.
No, I was a U.S. military show as well, and Canadian military show. Actually, we've got an army. Yeah. Yeah. My dad was a captain in the army. Actually,
Was he really?
Canadian Army? Yeah, he looked after the tank. Yeah. Yeah. It was a Volkswagen Beetle with a shotgun welded to the roof. Yeah.
But is there a red Mountie jacket in your parents' house somewhere?
Yeah,
Like, oh
absolutely.
man.
Well, those are police. Those aren't
Yeah,
army.
yeah,
Those are
okay.
police. My dad was army.
Okay.
A tank commander. Yeah.
End of my Canada knowledge.
Yeah.
We saw it's been a little while now involving your parents in your show. As far as antics or I guess just your creative endeavors, what was it like dealing with somebody who is probably a very strict person, I assume?
Yeah.
Dealing with a Canadian military man and doing what you're best at, which is stirring shit up. I mean, or doing something funny and creative.
I think a lot of my father's very strict, authoritarian, upbringing that I had. That he, he was always very concerned that I had a job. I needed a job. Right. I was a skateboarder. I wanted to go skateboard. Summer holidays would come. I'm going to go skateboard all day. No, you're not going to go skateboard all day. You're going to get a job. You're going to wake me up at 6
You're too damn
o'clock in the
tall to
morning.
be skateboarding, Tom.
He'd wake me up at 6 in the morning, yeah. And, so I think that inspired a lot of the pranks. It was payback time. I had a video camera. I was going to go mess with him.
It was payback time.
Yeah. But I think they liked the show, even though they were annoyed with some of the, the degree that we took the pranks. They did like the show. And when the show got picked up, by MTV, and all of a sudden, things were going well for me with that. They were very happy about it. So yeah.
Very nice. Before we'll get, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was
Trey.
going to say, before we get you out of here, I'm curious in that regard because the origins of your comedy, you mentioned how David Letterman played a big role and it was an inspiration to you. Who else in your life inspired you as far as when it comes to you developing some of your material, your creative routines, the sketches that we used to see? Who was your muse, I guess to say?
Man, like Monty Python was one of the first times I remember like laughing so hard that I couldn't breathe. It was when I was watching Monty Python's Meaning of Life, and they came to take the liver donors. They came to take the liver. You have a liver donors card. We're here to take your liver, but I'm still using it. I remember that line. But I'm still using it. Just killed me so badly. I could not stop laughing, and then it was something about just the sheer grotesque, real guts and blood, and so that was just something that was very exciting, and that was on TV all the time. Growing up in Canada is different than growing up in the USA. We didn't have MTV. We didn't have this. We had a lot of stuff on TV in Canada that, is just really out there stuff,
funded and made available by the government, correct?
Some of it, like Kids in the Hall, was on the CBC, and that show gets really out there, like too strange for mainstream network American TV. I know it aired in America, but it would never have. I don't think something like that would have aired on a network in America. So then lots of stand up. I started doing stand up 30 years ago.
I'll say, were you 13, 14?
I just turned 46, so so I was like 16 years old when I started doing. I turned 46 on Sunday. Wow. Thank you,
Travis. Keep your hat on, but that's a good head of hair.
Sorry, I mean, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I mean. Yeah, no, or maybe you're just bad at math. Is that
terrible at math? St. Louis Public
No,
Schools.
I mean, I started when I was a kid, so I was a teenager. I was in high school when I started doing stand-up, and I was a fan. I went down to watch Norm Macdonald.
Oh, nice.
One of the best.
Harlan Williams, who are my two of my favorites, and so stand-up was a big thing for me as a kid. And I mean, I was just I liked being a goofy kid at school. So then I started thinking, geez, how could I,
how do I get paid to do what I love?
How could I do this? I started thinking about it pretty early, like how could I be a comedian? So.
Oh, it makes sense. It's same question, I guess. You're mentioning a punk rock album. I assume you're being serious about recording that. Who influenced you music-wise?
Well, I mean, I always listened to a lot of rap music growing up. It was, as a skateboarder, I would listen to some. I was listening to punk rock music, but I was mostly listening to hip hop music.
Sure.
When I was in high school and stuff. So it was like. But groups like Tribe Called Quest and Public Enemy and Run DMC and the Beastie Boys and De La Soul and Gangstar and
Very
like
nice.
that. And then I'm listening to Been getting into some punk rock again though this year, stuff that I'd never really heard before.
Older stuff?
Yeah, I just got back into I set up a really good turntable with really old school
Yes.
vinyl playing setup in my living room, and I've been going out to just starting to get back into listening to some music I never really knew, like groups like the Angry Samoans,
Okay.
and the Spits, and GBH, and Sex Pistols, which I always listen to the Sex Pistols. I used to listen to a lot of groups like that, and Agent Orange, and skate punk bands like that. So
Okay, yeah, I was going to say like Anti-Flag back in the day was whenever I graduated high school in 2002. I'm trying to think Dead Kennedys, bands kind of along those lines.
Yeah. I think it's timely right now. I mean, there's a lot to be kind of screaming about.
Shouting
so.
your fist about and everything.
Yeah.
Even if have you heard of a band called the Mincingers?
No.
Bit of a throwback, but they're a newer band. You might want to check them out.
Is there any punk rock bands or even rappers you would love to perform with? You got a chance to perform with some rappers back in the days. Anyone today that you would be interested in performing with?
Yeah. Well,
Green in the house.
When I did my podcast or my web show, I rapped with Flavor Flav. I surprised him, and I did Bring the Noise. So he was just sitting there, and I was like, "Bass, hello, can you?" I just did the Chuck D part. He was like, "Yeah, boy." So I was like, just literally did the whole song with them, and then I rapped with Too Short, or I rapped Too Short. I rapped with Exhibit once on my show.
You sure did.
I rapped with
Star of the Sprite Liquid Mix Tour in 2002. Exhibit.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
cool. Yeah,
I attended.
That was cool. It was fun. That video kind of went viral for a minute there.
Yeah.
A lot of people liked that one. Yeah, Jurassic 5. I rapped with them. So no, it was cool. I'd like to maybe collaborate with some of my favorite rappers and do some sort of a duets.
I think you should. And then we'll get you out of here after you answer. What the hell were you doing in Farmington, Missouri a month or two ago?
Oh yeah.
That's my hometown.
Yeah,
obviously, an hour south of here.
Yeah.
You and Bear Grylls?
Yeah. No.
I messed it up.
Les
Les Stroud, the real.
Yeah.
Les Stroud's the real
the
dude.
originator. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
The Canadian survivor man.
So
Yeah.
okay, so that popped up on a personal Facebook feed of from that town.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's not that many people there. What in the hell is going on? Filming?
So there was an independent movie that I've been shooting over the last couple of years, actually. So I've been up in Missouri a few times this last couple of years. It's
Interesting.
It's called Interview a Monster, and it's a Sasquatch is involved, and
Very nice.
We were shooting it in Cape Girardeau, actually.
Is that right?
So,
Okay.
yeah, so I've been spent quite a bit of time, like I've been up to Cape Girardeau like 3 or 4 times in the last 2 years.
Hanging out with the SEMO kids.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Gone Girl filmed there.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
right. Yeah,
we
yeah.
actually had Ben Affleck's body double for that movie. He's making a horror film called Float Trip, but he spent a lot of time down there, and I love thinking about the town of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, seeing Tom Green walk through like randomly.
Yeah.
People kind of like double taking, but not being confident enough to be like, that's Tom Green.
Yeah, it's a great town. I love it. I love being here in
That's
Missouri.
freaking crazy. I saw that pop up, and you did something at a junior college or something that some people were talking about. Was the location because you like Missouri? Is there a production element to why you
the
came here?
producers and directors are all from Cape Girardeau.
Nice.
They wrote the movie there, and so I'm shooting it. I'm shooting
for
it
them.
with them. Yeah, it's really cool and super fun. And I love being in Missouri. First of all, I'm a pretty big fan of Mark Twain. I've read, I to the point that when I was my early 20s, I guess probably was around 1993, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
We planned for a year. We were gonna drive down to St.
Hannibal.
Louis.
Oh, to St. Louis.
Yeah, we were gonna go to Hannibal. Yeah, we were gonna build a raft. And my friend and I, and we were going to this was before the
I'm
show.
trying not to just lose my shit.
And we were going to
raft.
raft.
This is amazing.
We were going to raft down the Mississippi River, knowing nothing about it, And then I read Life on the Mississippi, and I realized that would probably be a deadly proposition. But we were still going to do it. But then it was one of the years that the Mississippi really flooded badly.
93.
It was that actual
The
year.
Great Flood of 93. Like literally, we were in elementary school. He's thinking, like, is it going to come to Farmington or that area?
So that actually is probably that flood, I know it was a horrible thing, but it probably saved my life because it was the reason why we didn't go build a raft and raft down the Mississippi River. So instead, we jumped on a freight train and got lost in northern Canada.
Speaking of punk rock, jeez, man.
Well, if you want the experience, though, I believe you can still take the Becky Thatcher fan boat. We'll do a nice 45-minute tour up and down the Mississippi.
Tom, we'd like to extend the olive branch. We would like to take you on a tour of the Mississippi River later.
That'd be nice.
It's out there.
Okay.
Before your show
logs.
at Helium Comedy Club. Go see him. Check out TomGreen.com. Anything else we need to look out for? The Interview a Monster.
Yeah.
When's that coming out?
Watch for that. I think it'll be coming out this year sometime. It's going to be fun. It's really it's a quirky little movie.
I wouldn't have expected quirky from you.
Yeah. I mean, it's the director's name is Thomas Smogula. He's from
Smogula. Yeah. That's
and he's put the whole thing together, and so it's really
so
his opus and his brainchild here.
Nice.
I'm just acting in it and having
That's
a good time.
fantastic. And do me a favor, the next time you're in LA and you see my podcast partner from National Bag Radio, Mr. Ian Bagg, he's such a piece of shit as far as self-confidence goes or anything like that. Will you just hug him and say, we are officially friends, Ian?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was so unconfident. He's like, Tom's great. Love him. He's awesome. We were talking about this last episode where he was like, I always know to say hi. I don't know if Tom likes me as much as whatever.
I think
him
it's
and say
probably
we're friends.
I think that's something that happens with like every comedian because I mean, and I'll text him. I'll text him when I leave.
Absolutely.
Nice.
He said, "Be sure you tell him I said hi." I was like, well, I'll say hi to your estranged friend, Tom.
Yeah, because we were, like I was saying, in the hallway before we went on the air, like, we're always touring. So even though we both live in LA, we're rarely in LA at the same time. And so it's like, oh, let's come over for dinner sometime. Okay, sure. And then you're never there, and then it never happens. But I get nervous too when I meet people that I like. I get nervous when I meet people that I know or that I'm a fan of, and so.
Do you choke up at all?
Yeah,
this guy won't shut up.
Then you end up standing there and you don't say anything because you don't want to say anything stupid, and then you just say nothing, and then the person probably walks away and goes, "Oh, does that person not like me or something?" Like that?
Yes.
Really, I was just a nervous, social, anxiety-filled.
I'm
wreck.
glad Tom
You
gets
do
it.
it. So this guy will do it. He will yap at
I
anyone,
will, and-
yell all the time, have a blast. Can't keep him quiet in a department store. He's got to let everybody know what's going on all times. There's been a few times with famous people as on their level, on their shows, he's completely choked up, and it's hilarious to watch.
Yeah, it's
a thing.
I freak out.
So
I don't know why.
it's a
I'm
weird
like you.
phenomenon.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I met Joe Buck. I'm a huge fan of his, and I completely froze. Like I couldn't think of words.
Yeah.
I'm like, you interview people for a living, Travis.
It's Joe Buck. He just called the Super Bowl in the World Series the last decade. I don't know what to do.
It's a weird thing that happens. I know. I mean, and it doesn't ever get any easier either because I did my podcast for years and my web show for years, and I think that might be actually part of the reason why I stopped doing it too. I just got tired of the anxiety of it. It's like, oh, Val Kilmer's coming. Oh my God! Like, what am I gonna say? That says Val Kilmer's awesome. Now he's gonna come sit in my living room for an hour. Oh my God, I'm nervous. And then you're anxious about it for a week leading up to it. Dan Rather. You got to interview Dan Rather for an hour. Oh my God!
Holy shit! You mentioned Harlan Williams. He's one of those people where I think Norm's been through. We were supposed to have him on a few times. Could be fine with him. People like yourself, people like Harlan Williams. There is that factor where I'm like, hey man, this is a really sweet movie. I loved it. What? There is that weird notion that you have where it's like, let's not be too big of a dickhead fanboy. At the same time, you really want to tell them you did this great, funny thing. Yeah, that can be hard to communicate. I'll give you guys that.
I think people like it when you compliment them on their work, though.
Yes,
I think they do. I mean,
have we complimented you enough today?
Not nearly enough. No.
I agree.
No, it's been great. Thank you.
Look at it, handsome devil, Tom Green. See him at Helium Comedy Club. Hopefully, you'll compliment him more than we did. Tom, thanks so much.
No, it was awesome. Thank you. Great show, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you guys.
Follow me on Instagram, everybody. I'm on Instagram.
I just tagged him in a video.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. Tom Green Live on Twitter and Tom Green on Instagram. And also go to my website and leave a comment, and I will read your comments.
Oh,
Thank
nice.
you.
That's right. Tom Green on We Are Live. Check out weareliveradio.com for past interviews, and go see Tom at Helium all weekend long. And if you're in another city where Tom's coming through, support him. He's been an absolute delight today. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.
If you're a truth teller, expect alienation. Phantoms in our minds ablaze, telling people they are wrong can be so dangerous. No justice in the world, no one to blame. Live with dignity in this absurdity. Live with dignity. Don't try to fool me with your modesty, demagoguery. Live with dignity. I can't take all this repetition. Just eat, drink, fuck, shit, piss away the day. They tell me true love is admiration. Don't make me admire your selfish ways. Live with dignity in this absurdity. Live with dignity. Don't try to fool me with your modesty, demagoguery. Live with dignity. Absurdity. Live with dignity. Don't try to fool me with your modesty, demagoguery. Live with dignity.
You're now tuned in to the Free Play Media Podcast Network.